I want to call this meeting of the Gilchrist County Board of County Commissioners to order. It's October the 20th, 2025, 4:01 p.m. I've asked Commissioner Darrell Smith to lead our minds in prayer, and I'll lead us in the flag. So if you'll silence your devices, we'll get started.
Pray with me. Our Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for the good day. Just thank you for each blessing that you give us. Thank you for the opportunity to live in Gilchrist County and the people, good people that we have. Thank you for our first responders. We pray that you continue to be with them and protect them as they help protect us. And Father, just help us today as we consider the business of the county to do things in a way that be pleasing to you and most helpful for our residents and all of us. And just continue to bless us as we seek you. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Address the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, everyone have a chance to look at the agenda, and is there any changes?
I have none.
None, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, the only item I would say is the North Florida Professional Services is final payment.
Okay, anybody else? We're still approve the agenda. Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Thomas and a second from Commissioner Martin to approve the agenda as presented. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Everyone look at this consent agenda.
Yeah, motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion for Commissioner Smith and a second from Commissioner Sharon Langford to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Public participation. Anybody here like to come before the board? You have an opportunity now and you have an opportunity to enter the meeting. Okay, I see none. Constitutional officers, Sheriff?
Good afternoon, Bobby Schultz, Sheriff. Don't have much, but I did want to put y'all on notice about some stuff. I was contacted by my captain of the jail over the weekend. We were talking about the inmates in our jail and our custody. I believe there was a conversation that you may have had, Mr. Clerk, about some continued costs as it relates to inmates being housed in other counties. So I'm here to, just in case it hasn't been talked about, I'm not sure if it has. And to be transparent, when we opened up the jail, we knew that we were going to have reduced capability on some inmates. Some of those were being on females. Currently, we have 16 inmates, female inmates, and we can only hold up to 8 females right now. So the day we opened it, we was already at capacity on females. So we've been housing some of those inmates at the Dixie County Sheriff's Office, and I believe it's at $48 a day, roughly, somewhere on there. Levy County was at 54 to 55. And I haven't been really tracking how much we've been putting over there until you talked to me about trying to negotiate with some of the counties. In years past, what we would do is if Levy County, we had a problem inmate or an inmate that we needed to be housed somewhere else, what we would do is we would ask them to hold that inmate, and in return, we would hold somebody for the line. I contacted Sheriff McCallum today and asked him if there was anything we could do to offset some of his costs, and he said no, there wasn't. He said that's a lot of inmates to do an 8 for 8 or a 5 for 5. He didn't want to. That'd be on a case by case basis. If he wasn't prepared to tell us that he would take 8 or 7 females, and he gives us 8. There's a lot that goes into that. So that's the Reader Digest version of where I'm at. I don't know what the bill for the past couple months is, but Mr. Newton could probably tell us based on how much it is. I'm imagine it's pretty significant, probably more than what we anticipated. We originally started housing this, but I'm very much on the record of telling everyone that we're going to be in a situation like this at some point. Now, our inmates don't always at those levels, but I believe that 15 female inmates is probably gonna be a normal, based on what I'm seeing on the crime trend and what we've had. So I am trying to do what I can to eliminate those issues. I talked to other counties. I have not talked to, Sheriff Butler yet, but I'm going to assume, knowing what his staffing was, he was looking at trying to add some room for his jail because of the crowding issue. And again, knowing what I know about classification of inmates and the type of inmates that you're having to, with, quite frankly, layman's terms, if I had a couple of, inmates that had a lot of problems, I would 100% want to send them to Gilchrist County so I don't have to deal with those problems. And therefore, we do the same thing. So they're not, most sheriffs and most county administrators of jails are not going to be jumping up the idea of taking inmates sight unseen. That's why it's going to be a case by case, when it comes to these inmates and trying to get them to hold them. 8 is a significant number to ask them to swap out with this. But I want you to know that, Sheriff, I am trying to reduce the cost, but I don't see that being a viable option within the county jails around.
What's the, how many total inmates do we have right now?
I don't know the exact number. I know we were hovering at 65 to 70.
And what's the capacity?
84.
Okay,
It's just how it seems like we have more female inmates.
so there's no way we could open up another cell then for the female, no?
They are doing their best right now to deal with that. You have maximum security inmates, you have misdemeanor inmates that can't be put with felonies, the sentenced inmates can't be put with certain people. So we have enough male inmates where it's impossible to okay, we'll put these guys over here in the female pod, put females over here.
So you can't do it.
The number game is just work out.
Do we have any, inmates from other counties in our jail?
No.
Any illegal immigrant?
Not currently, not the ones that are, we can only hold them up to 72 hours. And I think, I can't remember, somebody recently had asked me about reimbursement. The county does not get reimbursement for holding illegal immigrants up to 72 hours. That's just the cost of doing business that they're putting on the counties. And we're not set up through ICE or those entities that make those decisions to hold illegals beyond that. We have a contract, or we have a county that comes picks up our inmates after 72 hours. So we're not accruing those costs. Now we are accruing the wear and tear when you bring in 7 illegal aliens and you're trying to book them in like you would everybody else. That's a lot of inmates. So that's a burden that we'll take care of. But housing, it does cause a problem. Housing them for the 72 hours. We haven't had to move inmates to another county in order to hold them for the 72 hours. Hopefully we won't have to do that. But that is a possibility. I think I told y'all that before. If you get an influx of illegal inmates, we're going to have to pay $48 if they have a spot in Dixie County in order to house them temporarily for 72 hours and go pick them back up. It's problematic, but we're adjusting to it.
So the solution is to bite the bullet.
On that?
Well, this kind of what it's gonna be, keep paying other counties to, or build onto the jail.
Yes, sir. As of right now, there's somebody that has a better idea, and has more influence with some of these county sheriffs than what I got.
Sheriff, can I ask a question real quick? So I know, basically the female is the primary issue.
Yes, that's right.
And I think we have a couple, males in Dixie that are due to, multiple defendants. Is that,
Yes. That could be, I don't know the exact number.
could we possibly work on those doing a 1-for-1, the male,
I can
inmates?
certainly ask.
I mean, to me, any of them that we could do that on that swap would be beneficial. I mean, I understand that the female situation, there's not a lot we can do about that if, the other counties aren't willing to.
I would guess I know you talked to Captain Holly, but I'm sure that we probably have one or two over there that are co-defendants. We just can't keep them separated. And Levy County's about $10 more a day, so that's why we put them over there. But yes, I can see if I can't maneuver something for one or two of them. But again, it's really up to them. If they have history in that county, if
And they're not gonna accept them.
they have their type of charges, and that's one of the reasons why you have your own jail, because you're not at the mercy of other agencies deciding when you can bring something or not. And luckily, we got a good working relationship with these counties, and Sheriff McCown and Sheriff Butler have always worked with us, but, you know, they're not gonna put themselves at a deficit for me or for anybody else, to be honest with you.
Well, what about Lockaway County? Has that ever been an option?
That you're gonna pay them. I think that when I talked to Sheriff McCown today, he basically, I'll take whatever you got, but we're gonna pay for it.
Right.
So I'm going to assume that Sheriff Scott, and I will talk to him, to be fair, because I have not talked to Sheriff Scott. They have a crowding issue as well, and I just don't see them
Yeah.
jumping up and down to say, okay, we'll take X amount of inmates and we'll send you these X amount of inmates. But I will ask to be,
Now, Bobby, are these people that have already been sentenced? Most of the inmates are the ones that been, or they're waiting to be sentenced?
most of them are here on felonies, waiting to be sentenced or waiting for their judicial system to, you know, due process to occur.
So if they serve time, they're gonna be back in your jail?
It depends. They can do up to 1 year in the county jail, or at a circuit judge's discretion, they can do a little more than that. If it's, but most of them are, if they're over 365 days, they do 366 days, they go to the state facility. So we try to get them out here just as fast as the judge can send them. Within the week they're out of.
Would it be possible, and I think personnel would be your problem, is there any possibility of taking the old jail and renovating two of the cells and having those as overflow, except I guess you gotta have people over there to
Zero
watch,
chance of that.
huh?
Zero chance. I'll do -10.
Okay.
To be honest.
Negative 10. Love it.
Not too good a chance.
Or you're about -10 on that. And Mr. Crosby, he can, he's lived it right alongside me, and you can't. That's why we had to build the jail. We could not.
Well, I knew that, I just didn't know if there was.
The answer's already been too asked, I get it.
They were over there until we moved them in, and I thought, well, maybe you could renovate one or two of them into holding, into places to keep them, but I know you
By
can't.
the grace of our Heavenly Father, we do not have to do that anymore, and nor should we even try to push that envelope.
Alright, sure.
We probably, they knew we were building a new jail, it was obvious. So there was a couple times that even on the annual inspections, we couldn't pass a part of that, but they knew, it's obvious that a correction was trying to be made, so they
worked with us.
They worked with us on that, so.
Alright,
We're
just a
beyond
thought.
that now, but if we get back there, they're not gonna work with us.
They're not gonna work with you.
Not to mention the staffing would probably. cost
Well, I
them
knew
more.
that was my biggest thing. I'm thinking, well, now you gotta put staff over there, so now you gotta hire someone, and so I didn't think it was gonna work, but I thought I'd at least mention it.
But the general conception is, just use the old jail. What
Yeah,
people don't know.
yeah. But yeah, that ship sailed a long time ago, probably about 30 years ago when they tried it.
Yeah, we all
And
know.
then and I know Mr. Crosby looked at it and the board feverishly to try to make that work. And there are some state agencies that would probably have a lot of negative things to say about that if we suggested it.
Bobby, we have 2 pods.
We have a male and female, then we have, disciplinary confinement, where you have inmates that have issues that we have to segregate, they can't be in general population. Sometimes out of necessity, because we get so many of them, to avoid having things with other agencies. We try to mitigate that where we can, I'll just leave it at that, but we can't put in other inmates at risk.
Right. So we talked about one time adding, this would be capable of adding pods. How do we have,
At some point. yes.
what, do we have an estimate of what that would cost? And I'm just comparing what we're gonna end up paying outside counties for a year or 2 or 3.
It'll be more now, but do you remember what that was, that estimate,
To do the other section,
to do that other pod?
It may be something to
I was
look at.
told $2 to $3 million is what I was told.
Yeah, so
Which is how, now you have the shell there, but there's so much to go in that mess. It's, I think if you did it for less, if you added a pod, to do it less than $2 million in today's cost, it would be done something. But that's just Bobby Schultz's. So,
And the other question was budgeted, you had budgeted to cover, it sounds like we're gonna have more expense than we got budgeted for outside.
That is correct.
Luckily for me, that's not included in my budget. The county approves all that, which is why Mr. Newton.
Yeah, we had
contacted us
decreased,
and was talking
we
about
had decreased based on what our monthly had been running when we were during the budget process. Are very low.
Okay.
Like we're gonna be over
I'm
budget.
in the budget.
A significant amount if we continue at the current pace. That's the reason I contacted Captain Holly, was because I saw our last two bills and I was like, ooh, this is not at all what we're budgeting. So yeah, I mean, if it continues at the current rate, we will exceed the budget on that.
I
for
do
sure.
know we have a couple of those, inmates that have been sentenced, so they should be out of pretty soon. So then we can, so they're the ones we're holding at our agency now, so we can probably bring a couple back, but, I will contact the Alachua County at the request of the board and to see what they would do. I already know what everybody else's capacities are. And yeah, that's the only one I can think of right now. I know Columbia County is in the same situation that everybody else is in. Lafayette, Swanee, and, yeah, that's the only one I can think of.
So as they leave our jail, the females, you'll bring them back over?
Yeah, as soon as we get them out of there, I mean, additionally, through experience, we're going through a season where you shouldn't, crime arresting usually go down a little bit. Some, pray for that.
Yes.
You know, we have crime here, and crime is down, but the severity of the crimes that we're having are resulting in higher bonds and longer stays in our sheriff's office. So, like I said, while crime is down, you're still getting the problems.
And the longer term inmates.
So I don't even know what the numbers is. I probably don't want to know, but to answer your question, and that's not the budget. We don't do that. We send the bill to the clerk's office, and then when they come to my attention, I want to make sure I address it with you, that it didn't fall into deaf ears. I'm no smart. I'm doing what I can, but you know, it's something that the board probably needs to consider going forward, is like, as the county grows and the things that go on, that is one infrastructure issue that you're gonna have to deal with. And crime knows no gender. And just because they're female doesn't mean that they're less problematic to have a problem in the future. So, and we're dealing with that. We knew we were on the rise on that. Until I talked to Captain Holly, I didn't know exactly where we were. Now I have a firm understanding of it.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to the county administrator.
Yes, sir. My, agenda today starts on item number 6 under community development. It's in compliance with some Senate Bill 784 and 954. As you know, and some of this we've worked on, passed some resolutions and ordinances, to put in place, what we're required to do with review of site plans, and we have to make adjustments to our land development. All of these bills we're required to do. We don't have a choice, but, Mr. Stubbs will go up with North Florida Professionals. We'll go over the changes. We'll discuss them at any time anybody's got any questions.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. Hope you'll have a good evening this evening. Brandon Stubbs with North Florida Professional Services. As Mr. Crosby said, these are changes to the Land Development Code to be in compliance with Senate Bill 784 and 954, which were both adopted and effective back in July 1st of this year. I'll try to be as quick as possible. I know this is a lot, and this little report was pretty thick, but hoping y'all have this report in front of y'all. Okay, good. So basically, what Senate Bill 784 did was it and we did a little bit of presenting on this back when we did the resolution that made Mr. Crosby the designee for basically approving final plat. So this goes back and ties all that language in, solidifies everything, and kind of, makes all your subdivision regulations into compliance with Senate Bill 784. I won't go over every little detail. So what we did is kind of just change, anything that references Board of County Commission as a final approving body, we changed it to the LDR administrator or county administrator, county administrator, his or her designee. That way, no matter who your, community development coordinator is, or county planner, your, county administrator, county manager can basically choose if you want to retain that power, or give it to a department director, or however that wants be dealt with administratively. The other thing was you already had what's called a technical review committee. So what we did was kind of further define what the technical review committee does and how they are involved. And so this technical review committee would review preliminary plat, construction plans, and also final plats. And I'll get a little bit more into that in a little bit. And again, this technical review committee, your county administrator has the ability to make sure whoever the county administrator deems necessary is on that. So it could be your public works director, utility people, your planning staff, basically anybody that might have some form of input in reviewing a preliminary plat or construction plans or final plat. And the other reason for a technical review committee is it provides a protective layer not only for your county administrator and your county staff, but the county as a whole. That way you don't have one person that's reviewing this, one person saying, oh, I'm denying this or approving this. No, it's actually a development review committee that is offering a recommendation to that individual based upon the qualifications of the full section. So moving on, really, the bulk of the stuff that you see in the front is just technical language. Again, moving from, whether the board approves it to where the county administrator, or his or her designee, or, it deals with, processes of the technical review committee and the comment. So we expanded upon some of that. And then under section 10.7.08, which is on page 11. So this gets into like the final plat. This is where the bulk of the changes in Florida statute happen with the process of final plat. So, one thing that we want to make sure is, the time clock. There's usually a time clock under Florida statutes that once a developer or applicant has filed an application, that you have to do a certain amount of things, and you have to do certain things within a certain time frame. So what we want to make sure is, okay, if I'm an applicant, I submit an application for final plat, and if the county, you don't want your time to start at the moment that applicant submits that final plat, if the application is not complete or sufficient for review. So that's one thing that we added in there, because we want to make sure that you're not 30 days into it and you're supposed to be issuing approval, but you're just not issuing comment because their application was so deficient that you didn't have time to work sufficient for review. So basically what we added under 10.07.08 was once the final plat materials and submittal have been deemed complete, the planning director, planning director shall distribute the final plat materials to the technical review committee. Technical review committee shall review the plat materials and hold a committee meeting to discuss the final plat materials. At the committee meeting, the technical review committee shall make a recommendation to the county administrator to approve with conditions or deny the final plat. Should the committee recommend denial, the committee shall provide written notice to the applicant of said denial recommendation and shall specify the statutory reference so if there's gonna be a denial of a final plat, then the, administrator has to, in writing, inform the applicant of the statutory requirement that they do not meet. And then under, as far as, the next section D, the county administrator or designee shall, consider and take action upon the final plat. And then it has a couple of criteria. So what we did was we made sure that we added that the, technical review committee has reviewed it and issued their recommendation, and that the final plat is in compliance with chapter 177 Florida statute, which again is go back to the statutory.
Hey, Brandon, the main purpose of this was to speed up the process, be more efficient, and so hopefully the new process is gonna be that, right?
Yeah, this process should be much quicker than taking it before the, boards, because you don't have all the time periods of waiting before, well, yeah, we finished our staff review or we issue comments or whatever, but we gotta wait two more weeks, or we gotta wait 3 weeks for a board hearing. When you consider that over a preliminary plat, the construction, and the final plat phase, it could easily add a few months to the process. So, yeah, this process should streamline things. It should take, if nothing else, at least a month or two off the process.
Okay, that'd be good.
And typically when you're dealing with, final plats and construction plans, those are formalities of the preliminary plat. So you're still bringing the preliminary plat to the board, and I think we were doing it, well, let me get back to make sure. Now you got a question, Yeah, so we didn't change anything, with the preliminary plat review.
Well, it says on page 9, on G, it says, when considering proposed preliminary plats based on approval master plan, the Board of County Commissioners shall
Correct.
approve the preliminary
Correct.
plats.
Yeah, so you didn't want to take the ability for the commission, for y'all to be able to review preliminary plat and approve preliminary plat. But once you get to that phase, normally everything outside of that is just technical stuff, making sure you're in compliance with your land development code and things like that. So it's more of a technical review versus, you've already approved the preliminary plat. So, it's almost like a formality. But we didn't want to take, I've seen some local governments where the whole planning process is all administrative, but, we didn't want to take that whole process away from the board either. I feel like the board should have some say when you're dealing with the preliminary plat, but, it is good to speed things up after that, to kind of have it administratively, and that's, I guess, why the state had lived the way they did. I mean, it kind of takes away from home rule, and, so we don't necessarily like that, but, we understood why they did it. It was not necessarily cities and counties in North Florida, but there was some stuff going on in South Florida where developers were spending a lot of time, money, and getting right at the last, they're wanting final plat approval, and they spend all this money on preliminary plats, construction plans, construction improvements, and then the board, not wanting to approve final plats. And so I think it was a knee-jerk reaction to a couple of bad apples, but, that's what happens, unfortunately. But, we tried to make this the best of both worlds so that y'all still had the ability to have some legislative control, but understand that ultimately under Florida statute, it has to be administratively approved. Again, most of this language is just, language, remove the city commission, county commissioners and the county administrator. And then notice requirements, we did, I think I'll start that out, because there's no need to advertise for, city commission meetings. There was a question about the technical review committee meeting and courthouse postings. We kind of talked about it with staff. And, we kind of want to get y'all's opinion on that. The technical review committee is a staff level committee. It's not a public hearing. We're not inviting the staff to this technical review committee because it's just staff getting together to review a project, make comments, and vice versa. So, the implication that I would say that with the courthouse posting that you're gonna have this meeting is now you're inviting the public to that meeting, because if you're gonna post it as a public hearing versus a staff meeting, then at what point do you have to record that meeting, and there has to be public input? So I would wanna rely on this board and your county attorney to give us a little guidance on that. If y'all want that to be posted, we'll keep it as being posted. That was the prior requirement, but I think the technical review committee may have had a little bit different powers under the old criteria versus the new. But, so I would leave it to the board and county staff on how y'all want to approach that. And
What do you recommend, Mr.
How many
Lloyd?
members would be on that committee?
first,
How many members would be on that?
that's gonna be left up to Mr. Crosby, so whatever,
You're talking about the technical review committee?
yeah,
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's, isn't it already defined in our code?
yeah, it kind of gives some general guidance, but it's ultimately, Mr. Crosby has the authority to put whoever he wants to on it. So anybody that he would feel that would have significant input or be able to have, positive input on, reviewing that, whether it be anybody that's familiar with roads, utilities, surveying, planning, anybody that might have, a comment or be able to, provide their expertise to make sure that, all the rules and regulations are followed.
Yeah, you had something, Commissioner Lincoln?
No, no.
Mr. Lang,
Yeah, I had already commented on this a month or so ago with Brandon. He initially made that change, and I said the only thing that kind of struck me was, with the changes that were going in, if you didn't post it over there, then someone might say it was a little group of people making this decision over here without any public comment.
Yeah,
Now, we could put the posting in there, there's never been a problem in the past, and I felt more comfortable doing that.
okay, and that's perfectly fine. And I understand what Mr. Lane's saying is, you got, now a committee that's responsible for making a recommendation for approval or denial. So, what.
And it's still gonna be a staff meeting, it's just gonna be just be a public staff meeting, they're not really gonna be able to influence the staff people, but they have the opportunity to come and make a comment if they want to. That was my thinking. And I wanted to ask Brandon, I believe that the only input that the board will have on the plats will be the preliminary plat. Is that right?
Yeah.
Construction plans and final plans will always come back to the county administrator based upon the review of the technical review committee.
Correct,
Okay,
yeah.
well, that should certainly make it.
And
a
the
lot
other
better.
thing that would come before this board would be any special assessment districts that are created in the court, because only y'all can create a special assessment district, but, that would be related to the final plat, but not that final plat, so. But that would obviously be something that the final plat they would have to have these assessment districts established prior to being able to, have a final plat. And that was, so there's a section in here, under final plats where we did, Lincoln,
10.08.04.
yeah, I think there was, that would have been a special assessment district. Might have been already been in there. Yeah, so it was already in your code about the special assessment districts and, the approval and all that, so we didn't even have to change anything within the special assessment district requirements.
Do we need to get public comment?
Well, yeah, this is, do you want me to go over the next one, before we do public comment, or? do you want-
You're just asking for permission to move forward. You're still gonna make a ordinance change in the code, correct, to?
Correct, so this is just, those requirements were just 784. I haven't gone over the Senate Bill, 954, stuff yet. So I don't know if you wanna do them separate comments, if you wanna do it all in the end, or.
So
Right.
we're mainly just coming in compliance with this state statute, the law that was passed.
Right, we're
We
both.
really don't have any option here.
That's
right?
correct.
No, but there are some things that, you know, y'all do have some input on, so if
Okay.
y'all hear, or if you have questions or whatever, you know, y'all definitely can keep things minor here and there.
The chief thing is appointing the county administrator as the administrator of the
Correct,
final
yeah,
approval.
that is 90% of,
Can you let us know the things we have, say so on?
yeah, like one of them was the.
Right, that one, I know that one.
So y'all can control, under table 1213.03, there's a series of postings, and what type that y'all can control. Subdivisions under statutory law do not require any notice. So any notice that y'all provide is notice that y'all have deemed that y'all want to be able to provide for public input. But currently, you got, reviewed by the county administrator, mail notice, reviewed by the planning commission, site posting, and newspaper notice, and reviewed by the county commission via site posting and, newspaper notice. So you all have control on whether or not y'all want any advertising to be done, because technically a subdivision is a by right use. Somebody can make application, and as long as they meet the guidelines, they have a legal right to do it.
So you're saying we can't deny it then?
As long as they meet, yeah, that's what basically Florida statute says, is if they meet chapter 177, all the other requirements, you cannot deny it.
But we'll kind of approve the preliminary plat, and from then on, it'll pretty much be in the administrator's hands.
That's your input in the argument
Yeah.
right there,
Yeah.
preliminary.
Go
plat.
in there and plat.
Yeah, so you have, the notices under 10.07.14, that y'all could go and change however you want. You could make it where, you know, there's no notice, you can make it where there's only site postings, or you can make it where there's only newspaper notices, or you can make it where you're just gonna post it, in the courthouse or on the website. How y'all wanna advertise these, because it's not an ordinance, it's not something that is governed by Florida statute as far as advertising requirement. Y'all get to make that. If y'all feel like the citizens look at the website and that's a better, place to advertise, then that's your discretion.
Mr. Lane, what do you recommend?
I think that a public notice is always better. I think the board had, instructed on some of the things that we had earlier, like road closures, that sort of thing, where we didn't specifically have to give notice, but we did. They instructed me to post the property so that the surrounding neighbors would know what was going on. I think you can't go wrong doing that. I don't think they might be able to change the result, but at least it's not a surprise to them if you do
Yeah.
that. So I would go with the site posting and the,
Newspaper notice.
newspaper notice, yeah.
This is just subdivisions that Mr. Crosby will be doing, right? Not road closing.
No, but I'm using that as an example that
Okay, gotcha.
in our book, we
Yeah.
didn't have to do it, and
Yeah.
y'all had instructed me if you
Absolutely.
were gonna close a road or something like
Yeah.
that. We wanted to go ahead and post it, because we had some people come up here and say that they had no idea y'all were closing the
Right.
road.
Then I think we need to keep it that way
Yeah,
then.
I would agree with your recommendation for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, currently the way you have it is when the preliminary plat would come before the planning and zoning board of commissioners, there'll be a posted notice, and there'll be a notice in the newspaper. But again, that's just for the preliminary plat. After that, there's really no special notices other than the courthouse notice posting for the technical review committee.
Right, right.
Brandon, let's do them separate. Let's do the, Senate Bill 784 first and then do the other, because they're basically two different subjects.
Correct, yeah. Okay, so you wanna get public input at this time?
Yeah, just do the first one first. They're 784.
Commissioner, you'd asked the question of who would be on the committee. Basically, that would be on all reviews, would be North Florida Professional Service, Mr. Lane and myself. Now, depending on what the project is, it may also be that the road department is on that review. It may also be that your fire safety's in on that review, you know, so you're gonna have three key people that's in all of them, but depending on the project, that people could be added based on their expertise
Right.
to go along with what we have and what we're doing there.
Would the building inspector ever be,
It's a possibility, yes.
depends on the project?
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah, okay.
You know, it's a very good chance that, if you're doing a, commercial type building, you're gonna have your building official, you're gonna have your fire safety inspector, you're also gonna have your fire chief
Right,
as well. So, you know, depending on what you're doing,
right.
it could be,
And I agree with that,
Right,
because
yeah.
whoever's got the expertise in that field needs
That's
to be,
correct.
their input
right, that's.
and their guidance.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna vote to amend the regulations.
Mr. Newton wants to speak.
To comply with 784, is that what we're doing right now?
We're actually gonna, go ahead, you're voting to approve the recommendations from the planning staff, and then
Right.
you're gonna bring an ordinance back,
Yeah,
correct?
we'll bring back a resolution and an
Or a
ordinance
resolution.
for approval based upon this, what's been presented here tonight.
All right. We want to take public comment? Anybody from the public want to speak?
I just had one, on page 20,
Page 20?
D8, certificate of clerk of the circuit county. I think that's probably court.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, you're making that change, Brendan?
That's it.
Anything else? Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I'd make a motion if we're ready for that, to approve the recommendations by North Florida Professional Services related to changing our ordinance on Senate Bill or come in compliance with 784.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Smith and a second by Commissioner Martin to, accept the recommendation from North Florida Professional Services to pass the ordinance, move forward towards passing an ordinance to come in compliance with Senate Bill 784, having to do with our subdivision. Okay, anything else? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Now let's do 954. It's a cat of a different color than you.
Some of the things too, and this would just kind of clean up your specific type of notices under, Article 12. We did have some stuff in there, some state statute related to notices and types. And then we put your subdivision notices in there. One thing, I've noted in here, if you look into there, it says reviewed by some administrator. That should, we're gonna change that because I think it'd be better to say reviewed by your, technical review committee, and that's gonna reflect the courthouse person. So that first one says reviewed by county administrator, will have to be reviewed by your technical review committee, and that'll just reflect the courthouse person that y'all, recommended. So to go into, Senate Bill 954, which deals with like community residential homes. So this specifically deals with a specific type of community residential home. And basically what the state, did was kind of in the same way with the subdivision. They went in there and kind of preempted on when and where you can and can't approve these and how call group residential center, or some places call them group homes or, group facilities. So we changed that, basically because what it used to be under 419 was a group residential center, so what they call community residential homes now. So all we did was just strike the name and change the name, but the definition is the same, so what it's been called. So some of the things that are changing that throughout the LDRs are just to reflect the name change under statutory reference. And so, the other thing we did was we defined what exactly a recovery residence is. And that is a residential dwelling unit or other form of group housing that is offered for, advertised through any means of oral, written, electronic, or printed means by a person or entity as a residence that provides peer-supported, alcohol-free, and drug-free living environment for the, kind of like for-profit places that do, support homes for people that may be coming out of rehab or, things like that. As far as like where you can't, have them, the recovery homes, it does give you a little bit of discretion. So, like in your environmentally sensitive, 1 and 2 districts, the recovery residence would become a use permitted only by special use permit. As well as your, in your Ag 1 district, those would be special use permits for recovery, community residential homes and recovery residents. Same goes for the Ag 2 through 5 districts. Now, when you get into, what we had to do was create a section 7.27, which deals procedures for review and approval of certified recovery centers. And this basically comes out of Florida statute. I don't know if you'll have a chance to read in depth through this, but I'll try to, I guess, not really read it word for word, because it's kind of lengthy. But in just that, we kind of defined what it was. There's definitions about what a certified recovery residence is and who the administrators are. And this is stuff that comes from Florida statute. But, and then how the applicant's gonna make an application to the county for a recovery resident, information that they have to provide. And then the procedure, so for review procedures, once they make an application, they make that to the planning director. The planning director will have to review it, and they have to be able to provide in writing within the first 30 days, receive the application and the determination of completeness. Once the application is deemed sufficient for review, then the county administrator within 60 days of a complete application do a formal writing of whether it's been approved or denied. So, that can be approved with conditions, or denied. But if it is denied, you have to state the specific objective, evidence-based reasons for that denial. Now, under statute, it's kind of weird because if you do not approve it or deny it within 60 days of a complete application, there's actually a thing that is basically approved by proxy, or it's automatically approved if it's not denied or approved. So if there's no correspondence by the county administrator within 60 days of receiving complete application, then it has to be automatically approved.
Is this something that we're currently dealing with or have dealt with in the past, Bobby?
This is all new.
we've had a few, I don't know if they fall under this, but a few of the,
Recovery homes,
yeah, I don't know.
Group
Yeah, but they're,
residential.
they're more, assisted living, you know, where if you don't have more than like two or three, then they fall under a certain, law, they can actually have those in a residential home. And we've had a few of those, but those actually, I don't even think that's gonna be available with a special use permit or anything. They can do those in a resident. They have to have an inspection by the health department and then certain inspections by fire and safety. But other than that, but to actually have a recovery home, I don't know, since I've been here.
First time
we've
heard
had one come forward. I could see in some areas, you know, you read about them quite a bit in some of your larger communities, and some of them are turning hotels into recovery homes and all kind of stuff right now. So, I think, I'm not gonna say we'll never have one, but it's nothing we've had anybody approach. But if they do approach us, we'll be within.
We'll have the
proper.
we'll have the rules and regulations to go by. Okay.
yeah, typically in the past, what you had was the, what are called community residential facilities of 6 or fewer. And state law actually said that if you have 6 or fewer, they have to be treated no different than a single family home. You had to permit them, nothing you could do to deny them. Now, there was also, back then, they had what they call, community residential homes, now with more than 7. And those could be regulated a little bit different. I think that's where you get into a special use permit, but this is kind of a little bit different mix altogether, but, it's, again, we included the Senate bills in here, but I don't know if y'all have a chance to actually look at that, but, so yeah, I don't know why the state's getting off in everybody's business, but, you know, they're making life a lot harder for a lot of local jurisdictions with all this, but, in the end, basically, once this gets adopted, you'll have a code that's, compliant with state statutes and, I don't know why they deemed all this change necessarily the way things were done as far as community residential homes, but, I've never heard anybody really have any problems with them, but, I mean, I kind of understand where they could be if you had certain communities and, you know, trying to put a recovery home next door. I'm sure some people might not appreciate that or feel like, you know, there might be a stigmata behind it or.
You gotta speak up, Brandon, I can't hear you better.
I was just saying, in certain communities, I could understand where, you know, there might be a certain stigmata behind having people who are maybe going through drug rehab or whatever next door.
Right.
But, any questions, any of the technical language?
Anybody got anything? Any public comment? Okay. Have a motion to come in compliance with Senate Bill 954.
Motion.
Go ahead.
Motion to approve.
So you second?
Yeah.
We have a motion by Commissioner Sharon Langford and a second by Commissioner Bill Martin to, take the recommendation North Florida Professional Services that we, move forward and, passing an ordinance to come in compliance with Senate Bill 954. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I'll work with Mr. Crosby on, the timing of when to bring that, and I don't know if y'all wanna try to do this before or after the New Year's, but, you know, this isn't something we have to rush through, but certainly if you want, we can go ahead and get this stuff, start advertising, but if you wanna wait till after January,
Did-
we can do that as well.
Didn't it require us to be in compliance by January 1st?
I'll have to look at that, but.
Yes.
Yeah,
But I
The-
thought
the
that. what-
Residential homes
forward.
do, I know
Yeah.
for sure.
Residential homes do.
Yeah, let's move forward before the new year.
Yeah, but we.
I thought that was,
their
the kind of
requirement
reason why we
also
did that
then.
resolution was to be in compliance. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and, try to bring the, resolution and the first reading of the ordinance at next month's meeting and adoption in December.
Brandon, can I, there was some discussion about Senate Bill 180. Do you
Yeah.
know, or Mr. Lang, is that something that we gotta look at as well?
Something that we're
You wanna
looking
address
into.
that, Brandon?
Yeah, I don't have a copy of it in front of me, so I don't know how everything that it entails, but yes, that's something that we're looking at as well as what needs to be amended to comply with Senate Bill 180, but right now we don't have anything,
Which-
no, we don't have any drafts.
When they were,
About, I mean,
related to what we could change related in our comp plan and ordinances regarding emergencies, right? I think, I mean, we don't have to talk about it today. I was just curious if that's something y'all were looking at.
Yes, there is,
I know the Florida Association of Counties is considering that at the legislative meeting coming up in
Mhm.
November, and so I'll learn more at that, hopefully.
yeah, and it basically refers back to, adopting substantial improvements or anything that would be more restrictive in your land use, for your LDR, so like your comp plan. If y'all wanted to do a bunch of, amendments to your, comp plan that would make things more difficult for development or would make things more strict, then the state saying you can't do that. And it's kind of a, catch-22 because you got all those requirements you put under state statute to do your evaluation appraisal reports, or your update to comp plans. And we're actually working with, 3 or 4 different jurisdictions now, counties that are required to redo their comp plans, but how can you do that if you can't make anything more strict? And what's considered more strict was how more strict? If you're changing from an apple to an orange, is that more strict or is that considered equal? So there, and this, right now, there's a lot of things up in the air.
And didn't they make that that it couldn't be made any more strict than when it was August of 2024?
Correct.
When they went back retroactive,
Yeah.
picked an arbitrary date, said anything coming forward can't be more strict than it was on that date.
Yeah, and then, so there's, and you know more about this than I do, but I guess there's been some legal challenges saying you can't retroact, an adoption date. Like, it's kind of like adopting an ordinance and then saying, well, we want this to go effect 5 years ago.
Right.
So I don't know how that, supposedly there's some challenges on that are coming into way. So we don't really know where Senate Bill 180 is gonna go. I've talked even with some of the state folks, and they're kind of like, well, we're just taking it, one case at a time. And, just dealt with some over in the city of Benel where there was a bunch of comp plan amendments associated with a, land use change for a 2,800 acre parcel. And so this is stuff that was applied for by a developer and is being pursued by a developer, but because this stuff is more stringent, they're wondering whether or not the state's even gonna allow the pass. I mean, the developer went as far as the writing a, certified notarized letter to the state saying basically, I'm the applicant on this, isn't the city doing this, I'm requesting these and I support these changes. And, we don't even know if they're gonna get approved, even though that's a developer initiated.
But it's mainly focused on if you try to be more restrictive, right? I'm thinking we usually do the opposite. We try to be less restrictive.
Yeah,
Right.
level, left.
Yeah, and, you know, you're right, it's, a lot of it's comprehensive plan stuff, and the other would be any process that would be more restrictive. But again, y'all have no, well, y'all have not in the past ever developed a process that was more restrictive than what was in the past. I mean, I've added, advertising requirements, but that was done many years ago, so that wouldn't be anything that would be under scrutiny. But somebody could argue that the very requirements to comply with Senate Bill 954 violates Senate Bill 180. So, again, to me, it's like the left hand don't talk to the right hand, they're just passing a bunch of bills that sound good and they all conflict with one another. We're stuck with, trying to figure it out.
It furnishes a job for somebody.
Yeah, keeps us busy writing the, requirements for the needs of stuff, but, again, at what point could someone challenge, Senate Bill 954 and say, well, that Senate Bill is invalid because you adopted Senate Bill 180 that says you can't adopt the more stringent processes. Well, now you're in here developing processes for, recovery homes that are considered more stringent, but it's a requirement under statutory language, so. And not to mention all the requirements, you think most local governments adopted their comprehensive plan and haven't amended it in close to 10 years. While the statutory requirements that have changed under 163 that now require more stringent stuff in your comp plan, well, now you can't even be in compliance with 163. There's a lot of stuff still up in the air about that one and whether or not what's going to come of it. Luckily, y'all are not in the review process.
Sad thing is committees are meeting as we speak in Tallahassee
Yeah.
for the upcoming, the new laws that are
Yeah,
coming.
exactly. We still haven't addressed the old one. So it's, we'll see. I think there's, like I said, there's been talk of, some class action suits on, different parts of that bill. So we'll see, I guess, what happens when and all that filed.
Thank you.
But I'll definitely, with this, the wishes of this board, as this progresses, it's obviously not gonna be something that's gonna have every month, but as stuff progresses on this, I'll get with Mr. Lane and Mr. Crosby, and we can, whether it's me or them or whatever, we can update y'all on the progress of 180.
We appreciate your help.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay.
Yes, sir. The next item is number 7 under fire EMS. Each 3 years we're required to, approve the Gilchrist County Behavioral Health Transportation Plan. There's no changes in this plan from the previous plan. Basically states where the facilities are located and, for the different, type of Baker Acts or Marchman Acts.
Motion to approve the behavioral health transportation plan.
We have a motion for Commissioner Sharon Lincoln and a second from Commissioner Smith that we approve Gilchrist County Behavioral Health Transportation Plan from 2026 to 2029. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Next item under Hard Springs, it's a task work order with North Florida Professional Services. As you know, we have the grant for the floating dock and the bank stabilization. This is, for them to basically perform the CEI for this and provide an as-built survey, which we have to have once completed. It's an amount of $9,250. There is a hourly rate of $190 per hour if anything additional is needed, but we feel like this will cover everything. This is also covered by the grant that we received.
Motion to approve. Second. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Thomas and a second by Commissioner Martin that we approve the task work order for professional planning service for the Hart Springs boat race. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
The next item I have is number 9 under emergency management. Our annual EMPG grant in the amount of $47,888. This is one of the grants that helps fund emergency management.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Thomas and a second by Commissioner Smith to approve the, grant for the emergency management. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Next item I have is under general. It's an amendment to the Northeast 30th Street Agreement. It's better known as Dixie Grade. there was a typo in it, but the DOT asked to bring it back. Bringing it back's in our favor by $11,000. The original amount they typed in on Exhibit B was $2,234,000. It should have been $2,345,000. So just with approval of that and chairman's signature.
Motion to approve the DOT amendment.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Kevin Langford and a second by Commissioner Bill Martin to approve the agreement with DOT for the project on Dickey Hollow. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
The next item I have is the Florida Forest Service annual report. It's just FYI, if you can look at it at your leisure. Got any questions, we'll be happy to glad to try to answer those, but they're required to provide us a report each year.
Is this what wildfires in Gilchrist County?
Yes. Now, when you look at this though, you see acres burned, some of those are controlled. Okay.
That's what was my next question. Are these all wildfires or are these control burns? Cause,
Some of those, quite a bit of control.
okay.
Now, do they assist with, control burns?
Ma'am?
They assist with control
Oh,
burns,
yes,
yeah.
They will.
They will.
So
They
the cost
actually-
to us was $14,110.53.
That's part of what they do. They actually even help assist the county with control burns if we have a control burn that we need done. So that is all I have unless you have some questions at this time.
Motion? Mr. Duke?
Yes, the first thing I have up is a proclamation. It was requested by the Partnership for Strong Families, Inc. The proclamation is to declare November 2025 as National Adoption Month. And without reading it in full, that's the title. If you want me to read it, I'll be happy to.
No, I move to approve the proclamation, declaring November National Adoption Month.
Second. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Martin and a second by Commissioner Thomas to approve the proclamation declaring November 2025 as National Adoption Month. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Yeah, and I'll rely on Ms. Karen to see if she can get that to the proper people over at Partnership for Strong Families. The second thing I have, and Ms. Langford is aware of this, it's the first amended and restated interlocal agreement between Alachua County, Bradford County, Columbia County, Dixie County, Gilchrist County, Union County concerning or regarding the local workforce development area. That's the new area that was established at the instruction of the governor, where we took the control out of the previous career source workforce area and combined it with Alachua County, and they're running the whole thing. And what they're asking to do on this interlocal agreement is each county has a representative. Sharon's our representative as our county commission chair. And they're asking that we reduce the required number of county commissioners that establishes a quorum from 6 members to 4 members.
But we're having a hard time sometime. I mean, we always had a quorum, but it was tough. So, cause somebody may be at the doctor and couldn't, hop on the Zoom or whatever. So that's why we wanted to change that.
And you as our representative don't have a problem with that?
Sir?
You don't, as our
No,
representative?
sir, none of us did, none of the
Okay.
commissioners. We thought that was a great idea.
So you support it?
Yeah, do I need to approve it?
Oh, yeah, they'd need to approve the interlocal agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Sharon Langford, and a second by Commissioner Smith to approve the interlocal agreement to reduce the number of commissioners from 6 to 4. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
That was the only change to that career source interlocal agreement was the number of commissioners. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Clerk,
Nothing today, sir.
nothing today. Okay. We'll start with our commissioner report. Mr. Sharon?
I'm good.
Mr. Smith?
I was just gonna mention, I had an opportunity to go to Alliance Dairy today with the Rotary Club. They hosted a short tour, and if any of you get the opportunity to go out there, I've been out there before, but they now have 2 robotic rotary milking parlors, and would be, really high tech for anybody in the country really, or probably world. But I found out they employ 230 people, roughly, $12 million in salaries, pay $350,000 in taxes, 24 million to local businesses. They provide 18% of the milk for Florida.
Wow.
And, their milk goes to Walmart. I buy milk there or in other places. But anyway, just wanted to mention that. I went to the barbecue at the Heart, on Saturday, and, I know staff put in a lot of time and work to make that successful, and so
Wonderful job.
appreciate everything that was done there. And then the last thing I was gonna mention is this, we got a copy of this Florida County Property Tax Report from the Florida Association of Counties. And just to encourage the board to look at, it compares us to others in the state by county. And we can always improve, but I felt like our rank as far as taxes is lower in the state compared to others, which is a good thing. So just take a look at it, and maybe it's something we can look at again in a future meeting if you guys agree.
And it was prepared by who?
Florida Association of Counties.
Oh, good. I wonder where it comes from.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I was not able to make it to the barbecue, but I was able to make it to the fireworks afterwards, and it was a phenomenal fireworks show. The fellow who put it on did a fabulous job. Everybody who was there was highly impressed with the fireworks at the grand finale and everything that went in, and it was really, really nice. The Bell FFA Shindig was a big success that a lot of you participated in, and they wanted me to tell you thank you. And then tomorrow night, we are starting back up a Gilchrist County Cattlemen's Association. We had one years ago, but in 2020, when COVID hit, it kind of fell apart because they couldn't meet anymore, but they're starting it back up tomorrow night at the elementary school at 6 o'clock is a Gilchrist County Cattlemen's Association meeting, and they're wanting to get it started back up, so,
Bill, I got a question about that. I've been a member of the Cattlemen's for years and years, and I get the magazine, I pay the dues, and it says they're taking part of the fee out to pay to the Gilchrist County Cattlemen's Association. If we've been defunct, where does that money go?
that would be a question for Mr. Thomas.
Okay.
I don't know.
It goes to Kissimmee. for the cattle-
Bruce Thomas Jr. Will be the one that
That's a
is
good one.
presiding over that, and that would be a question I can ask him tomorrow night.
But I just thought we still had it.
Well, they may have still had, the fees may have still been coming, but since COVID, we weren't
Just
able to
kinda
meet.
shut down and
And it
everybody
kind of
met.
shut down, and they're wanting to reestablish it.
Okay.
So tomorrow night at the elementary school at Trenton at 6 o'clock is the Cattlemen's. If you're interested in attending, they do want you to call and make reservations so they can get the number of steaks right. But other than that, the rain we had yesterday was good, and it'll help in road. So I haven't had any complaints there, so everything's good.
You got cattle, you're rich nowadays.
You got cattle right now, it's a good time to be in the cattle business if you have cattle. It is a bad time to go into the cattle business if you don't.
Right.
It's a good time to sell if you have cattle.
There, it's a good time to sell.
Mr. Thomas? Nothing. Nothing? I did attend the barbecue at Harding. It was, probably twice as big as it was last year. It looked like it was. A lot of vendors. It turned out real well, I thought. Didn't make it to the fireworks, but, other than that, they are back working on 138. They came in last week and kind of put a light coat on some of the corners, I guess is what they're trying to beef up those wear areas.
No, I saw it, I'm not sure.
I've
what-
never seen them do that. I thought they started at one end and went to the other, but the three major curves, they put a layer of asphalt. Wasn't real thick, but they put a layer of asphalt on those curves. And now I guess they'll start back and doing the rest of it, but it's looking good. It's looking real good. I only have one other thing. I wasn't gonna mention this, but I think it's big. It's big in my book, and I'll tell you why. We had a graduate from Bell High School, who graduated this year, 2025, and he won the Presidential Scholar Award, the highest award a high school student can obtain in the United States. And, he got an opportunity to apply, and he applied, and he was awarded that scholarship. And I'll read you a little bit about it. It's from the Department of Education, United States Department of Education. It says, U.S. Department of Education has announced today the selection of Fisher Thomas Langford of High Springs, Florida, who attended Bell High School in Bell, as a 2025 U.S. Presidential Scholar. Langford is one of 161 outstanding American high school graduates who have demonstrated outstanding academic achievement, artistic excellence, technical enterprise, leadership, citizenship, service, and contribution to school and community. Scholars are selected annually based on their academic success, artistic and technical excellence, essays, school evaluations, transcripts, as well as evidence of community service, leadership, and demonstrated commitment to high ideals. Of the 3.9 million students who graduated from high school this year, more than 6,400 candidates qualified for the 2025 awards determined by outstanding performance on SAT and ACT exams or through nominations made by chief staff, school officers, and partners recognition organizations. As directed by presidential executive order, the 2025 United States Presidential Scholars are comprised of one young man and one young woman from each state, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and U.S. families living abroad, as well as 15 chosen at large, 20 scholars in the arts, and 20 scholars in the career and technical education. Created in 1964, the U.S. Presidential Scholarship Program has honored approximately 8,600 of the nation's top performing students. The program was expanded in 1979 to recognize the students who demonstrate exceptional talent in the visual, literary, and performing arts. In 2015, the program was again extended to recognize students who demonstrate ability and accomplishments in career and technical education fields. Since 1983, each presidential scholar has been offered the opportunity to name his or her most influential teacher. Each distinguished teacher is honored with a personal letter from the Secretary of Education. The teacher chosen for recognition by Langford was Mr. Brett Watson from Bell High School in Bell, Florida.
Congratulations.
So,
Congratulations to him.
me and my wife are real proud. We got a letter from the Department of Education, we got from the school, and we got a letter from Mr. Watson. So we're proud of Fisher. But Kat is gonna meet with him Friday night to award him a recognition letter. And he will go before the school board tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and they're gonna recognize him for his accomplishments. So
Congratulations.
Kat said nobody in her district has ever won this award, so we're just proud of him. Put it that way.
Did he get the talent from his mama or his daddy?
Well, yeah. But I have a lot of people to thank, and that's the Bell School System, which y'all know we are a great school.
Yeah.
I also have to thank Miss Carolyn Thomas, because she fell in love with Fisher and she has influenced him tremendously. And your daughter, Miss Martin, has been a big role, and Mr. Watson has been a huge role in making Fisher accomplish what he has accomplished so far. He is enrolled at Santa Fe Community College and hopes to transfer to University of Florida. He's gonna go into animal science and plant science. He likes DNA and genetics and stuff like that. That's what he's gonna go. You asked where he got that from. You heard that. Fisher Thomas,
There's some Thomas in there.
that's my first name. No, I just wanted to share that with you. I shouldn't have maybe, but I just thought it was,
Yeah, that's what.
I thought it
Had to.
well,
Had to
it would
share.
be any student from Gilchrist County, not just
That's
my
right.
son, but any student from Gilchrist County. Threat and Bell don't make no difference. I think it's an honor for Gilchrist County to have the leadership and the people in position to make our students excel like that, whoever they are. But
Agreed.
that's all I have.
4 o'clock tomorrow.
4 o'clock tomorrow. Yep.
School board.
The school board office is gonna recognize Fisher. That's it. That's all I have. Any public participation?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn in a second. Yeah, you really good.
You're kind of wonderful.
That is cool.
That is something to be very proud of.
Yeah. I know,
Well, I know it.
Bill, I didn't.
I told myself, I'm just gonna say Brett.
If Sugar had got him hushed, we'd have been out here a long time ago.